Welcome to this Monday, July 3rd meeting for the Historic Preservation Commission. It is just after 5:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Any public comments? No, not at this time? All right, that brings us to number 3, approval of previous minutes from regular meeting on June 5th, 2023.
I'll make a motion.
All right, I have a motion by Aaron Rooney. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have
Who's second?
Jason.
Jason.
All right, I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 5th, 2023 Historic Preservation Commission minutes, and a second by Jason Wells.
Jason Wells,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Daryl's not here. Aaron Rooney,
Yes.
Mineka Gibbs.
Yes. All right, that brings us to HPC
Oh,
application.
Nathan Turner, that's the one
I
I
was
forgot.
missing.
Oh, you were
I wasn't
missing,
last-
that's
I
why I
wasn't
didn't
here
have you,
last
right,
month.
got
Yep.
it, okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
All right, that brings us to HPC application number 23-009, discussion and potential action on request for certificate of compliance for the new, the green launch pub canopy signage on the front facade of the building located at 118 South 2nd Street. Staff report?
I don't have one, this one was continued by you guys,
That's
so.
right. We did continue this. Are they present? Please come up. We did continue this because we had some questions.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. This is Jazz.
Hi, welcome. I'm really excited about this.
Perfect.
Yes, so we were provided with your signage, and we were well aware, after we brought it up, about the canopy, and you wanted to put, this is gonna be the logo that's just in the middle,
Correct.
right?
Right,
Right.
well, yeah, and the canopy can either be green or black, we can.
Well, that was the question, so, is this a navy green, or navy blue, and then green?
It's black.
It's black,
And like
okay.
a lime green. I was thinking though, like once I started thinking about it, that white might do better. So if that was something, like as far as the canopy goes, just for showing. So if you think it would look better white, we could also do that.
Well, I'm fine with the black or the navy, it's
Okay.
just, it's hard whenever things print out, right?
It really is.
For color.
So this will be painted?
No,
No.
that'll be the canvas
What-
over the top.
Yeah, we're gonna order a
Oh,
new
no, I thought
one.
you had the picture sitting right there in front of you.
Right, it's gonna go over the top of.
Okay.
So replace
What's
that,
I think that
Already
was a
here.
question last
It
time
was,
as well.
yes.
and then the other part was the, right in front of it, going on the street, where you hang kind of like an old school banner right there with the logo on it as well. I don't know if you can see it in the picture there, but there's like a flag holding.
Okay,
So if you're walking down the street, you can see it versus seeing the canopy as you're driving by.
okay, so all of the flags, like everybody has a open flag in front of their building, and they're all uniform.
Okay.
So those are the flags, those are the standard flags that are for the downtown,
Okay.
We can do that.
okay.
But it can say whatever you want,
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
as long as it's that standard size, and you can find that.
3 by 5.
Yeah.
All right, that's easy. That's fine.
And then were you gonna have any signage other than what's on the canopy, and then your
Not on-
flag gonna be on your windows at all?
Not on the front glass, no, but on the
Okay.
door itself, which is inset right there, just when you walk in, just on the glass, just the logo.
Just a logo, and it'll be the same?
Yes.
Okay,
Not as big.
Yeah.
okay.
Do we need to add that to the
Add
I
what?
think as long as Dan adds it into his
minutes?
minutes.
Add what?
Oh, the door signage?
Oh, we're gonna start that now too?
Cool.
We've never regulated that, we just let them have their business hours and logo on there.
I'm good with that.
There's not one building in town that's ever got approval for the door.
Was just a question.
Remind me again, what's the minimum, or what, at what?
For the windows, it's 1/3, no greater than 1/3 of the windows.
Okay.
Okay,
There'll be nothing on the logos.
okay. Great. Anybody have any questions?
No.
No? You got them all
Sounds
answered?
cool.
No, All right,
We're
can I-
trying.
We're
Yeah, that's
excited, we're
cool.
getting
We're
there.
really excited. I'm excited. This is gonna be exciting. I think it'll be a great addition, so.
We hope so. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, okay, can I get a motion to approve HPC application number 23009?
Motion to approve.
My second.
All right, I have a motion and a second.
Who was second? Oh, Nathan?
Nathan?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
know I'm like familiar faces. We've been going around town, so I recognize a few people already.
Good.
He done
Great.
this for about an hour.
All right.
Great, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome. Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Aaron Rooney,
Yes.
Mineka Gibbs.
Yes. All right, HPC application number 230112, discussion and potential action on a request for certificate of compliance for demolition of an existing building in the rear portion of the lot for a property located at 316 West Violas Avenue. Staff report?
As indicated, this is over on West Violet, just to the south here. There's two houses on the property. One is a 1909 two-story brick structure, which is not going to be touched. But in the back, there's a 1940-ish single-family residence that is in quite a bit of disarray. The pictures actually do it justice. And so the applicant is looking to demolish that building, and since it's in the Historic Preservation District, any demolition requires approval. It is, as I said, it's built in the 40s and that, so it's not a contributing structure. So the commission has the authority or ability to approve the demolition without any further issues. The applicant had also indicated that they were going to just use that as additional green space, open space for the brick building in that, so they're not planning on any reconstruction or new construction at this time.
Okay. And is the applicant present? I don't think I see them. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't.
I really don't have any. No?
No, we did a drive-by of it and
Yeah.
just kind of looked at it. But yeah, it's ready.
Yeah, it's right.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
All right, I have a motion by Nathan,
Yeah.
I'll second.
a second by Jason.
Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Darrell Covington, I'm sorry, he's gone, Aaron Rooney,
Yes.
and Mineka Gibbs.
Yes. All right, which brings us to the last application, HPC application number 23-13. Discussion and potential action on request for certificate of compliance on facade maintenance updates for a building located at 104 East Oklahoma Avenue. Staff report?
This was a building that was doing minimum maintenance. I had determined by the code that it was minimum maintenance. You have my if you want to say justification why it's minimum maintenance. But I was told to put it on the HPC agenda for approval because apparently people other than me feel that it is not minimum maintenance. The only thing that I want to add is if this were to continue, it sets a very horrific precedent and will change greatly the dynamic of how we enforce the code in the downtown. If you thought people aren't doing work on their buildings now, just wait. So with that, I'll give it back to the commission.
All right, is a building owner present? Okay, you would please come up here?
Yes, my husband and I bought this building in 2002 and started working on it. And when we started the space that you see there, it had that green material that you see next door all over it. And in trying to restore it, we did extensive research on the historic value of that section. Every picture we found was in the shade, it had an awning, it had a trolley, there was nothing. I mean, we went everywhere, all over Oklahoma City, everywhere, trying to find out exactly what it looked like so we could restore it. So not getting anything like that, when we took the front off, there was nothing but a 16 by 50 foot hole. There was no facade, there was nothing underneath it. And we went about making a design that fit with the rest of the building so that it would look like a cohesive building, because that building, we own that building, that space, all the way to the corner, all the way to the alley. And, you know, when we redid this, we got it all approved through the Historical Society. And once it was finished, we even won the Folk Art Award for renovating that section of the building. We did not apply because it was maintenance. The original wood on there was rotting because it was plywood. We decided that we needed something that would be a little more lasting, that would, you know, reflect well on Guthrie for years to come. And so we picked the Smart Board. And it's going to be painted. It's already been redone exactly like it was. It's going to be painted in the exact same colors. And I made a sample so that you can see that the texture, as far as I can see, does not diminish anything from the front of the building. These are the same colors that it was originally. They faded a little bit if you looked at the building, blue fades. But these are the original colors that were approved.
Okay.
I'm a little dismayed that the historical people have made it a point of the small minor texture of wood, because I know they've made lots of things of wood in the past. It was never an exactly smooth finish historically. This material is exactly what's on the front of Pollard's next door. It's been there since we bought the building. And you know, I'm very dismayed at this, and I agree. I think this would set a precedent that would be damaging to the downtown of Guthrie.
Was that the concern, was the texture of the wood?
That was what I was told. It was just the texture of the Smart Board.
I was told there was an interpretation that it was a change of material, not mine. But nowhere in the code does it say wood to wood, or if the wood's slightly different from other wood. The code says if you have a change of material, so if you go from wood to brick, brick to wood, you know, stucco to brick or something like that, then it has to be reviewed. But if you're putting brick to brick, because even a lot of the brick repairs that have been done down there are not original brick, because it can't be found nowadays. It's compatible brick and it works, but it's not today. This should have never been allowed to begin with, what they had there. It should have been exterior material that is made, you know, because we have to also take into consideration construction aspects, just not aesthetics. And that seems to have been the issue with some of the other ones. Everybody wants a pretty picture, but when it comes to the actual construction, you can't sit, you know, there's going to be some slight changes and some deviations in that. That's why it probably would be nice to have somebody who's in construction. We have one now that could, you know, put a little bit more light into that, rather than just trying to make everything look exactly like a picture and be mad when it's not.
So I also actually do have a witness here in construction as well. So I did actually pull, and it does say that ordinary maintenance or repair within the district. And there, it says it is ordinary maintenance if it doesn't involve a change in design or material. Smart Board and
Look at the
wood.
definition of material, I put it in there.
I have it right here too.
Okay. I mean,
And-
I've only been doing this for 25 years, so, you know, I don't know anything, so go ahead.
Nobody said you didn't know anything.
Yeah,
But
they
it
did. That's
does
why we're
state in here.
That's why we're here.
Excuse me. It does state in here, consideration of the texture and style of components and their combinations. It is in here as well. It can be here. It is fantastic that you're repairing your building. Nobody is saying that it is not a great thing that you are not repairing your building like it needs to be done. That isn't it. But materials are important because this board does also have specific guidelines that are allowed in the historic district. When you start pulling out materials that aren't within the guidelines and aren't in the standard procedures for what have been given to the board for recommendation, we start to change it too much, more of our buildings become non-conforming.
I don't consider this really a change of material. We were not going to put the same material up that we did before. It was not.
Just out of curiosity, why wasn't that brought up when Katie's in their new building? They're gonna have the same material.
Katie's was already non-conforming.
What do you mean?
Its lot is non-conforming.
It's in the
listed
historic
as-
district.
But it's listed as non-conforming.
But Dan, it also has to be pointed out that because we make a decision in one case, doesn't mean that the commission is obligated then to approve that particular material in every instance. That's why we look at these on a case-by-case
That's fine.
basis.
I'm fine with that.
Well,
Also, the smart board is definitely, it can be a great use, but also depends on what you put behind it. It's more weatherproof whenever you use the weatherproof material that goes behind it.
And that is already behind it. It
Well,
was behind the original plywood.
yes, but that particular brand has a weatherproofing brand that goes with it.
So it sounds like you don't want her to put what she put on, so what are you gonna require her to tear off and put on in its,
I'm not requiring anything.
then why are we here?
What we're stating is that if there is a change in texture and a change in material, smartboard is not wood, it is engineered wood.
That's a matter of semantics.
Yeah, it is, but here we are.
But if it's in here and that's what we have, if it's
And-
in the rules that we have, that's what we have. These are landmarks.
The material wasn't even specified when we put this facade on. We picked
Good luck
that
getting
material.
brickwork done, because you can't find that brick, and now they're gonna have to replace it exactly as is.
So, make sure I'm understanding what the issue, because I'm a little oblivious, but, so, are we concerned with the current design? Because
I'm not concerned with the design, no.
okay, so if we were
The
to make
design
a...
is fantastic. The design is great.
Okay, but the fact that the material is a material change and that it should come through HPC is what you're...
Yes, that is an issue. The material itself it is a residential material. It's not a material that has been approved already for
There
historic
was no
preservation.
mention of any type of material in our original approval on this
Yeah.
facade.
Well, and I think the big thing is I'm super happy for you guys, getting the space occupied and for contributing. And, the work has already previously been done, how umpteen many years that the situation's already come to pass. We can't go back in time. I think this is a good,
And the material showing is a very small percentage of the total front of the building. The rest of it is wood.
the big thing is that it's cared for, and it's occupied, it's used.
Right, but that's not, and I agree with that, but that's not the matter of this board. This board is preservation.
There's nothing to preserve, it's already out.
Well, that's not quite
That's not-
right,
I mean-
because
No,
if we
that's
don't,
not-
There's
True.
not one storefront downtown that it's its original, not one.
No,
The buildings are, but not the storefronts.
but we have a code in place to make it look
Right.
as original as possible, because.
But I don't know where in there it says one specific wood versus another specific wood is not allowed.
And I don't know if it's
that's because
economically
wood
feasible.
is wood. Synthetic wood was not available in the early 1900s. Synthetic wood's not been along for very long.
Neither was plywood that they're using that's
No, but
currently
you
on
could
there.
mill it. They
What?
started milling it.
Trust me, I agree with you. I put wood on my house. That's what I'm planning on
Right,
doing.
I'm not,
It's a superior product, but money is an issue.
again, but
No, there's no
We're
care here
subject
for
to things
economics.
bigger
We've
than
seen that in the past.
Say what you-
we're subject to things larger than that. And
That's why we have all the vacant buildings.
Because my
Dan,
concern
I
is-
don't think that's necessary.
It
That's
isn't.
disrespectful. We're all up here
Okay, sorry.
volunteers doing this on our own time because we care about preserving the historic preservation in Guthrie.
Yeah.
Attitude, comments like that are unprofessional.
I mean, really, the Secretary's handbook is much larger and much harder, and Guthrie uses a tiny version of that, not even, and the state's office is gonna be here the next couple of weeks doing an inspection of all the Guthrie downtown.
Yeah.
There's been lots of major changes lately. I'm glad that it was done and it was put together. The colors are fantastic. That isn't necessarily the issue. The issue is to make sure that the material that you're used is a material that we can justify when this board gets questioned by an office higher than us. Is that a material that we could say is okay, and we use the best judgment in approving that material to be put on the front of a landmark?
I don't think they had perfectly flat wood in the 1900s when they built the building. And to me, wood is, it's not, nobody's gonna look at this and say, oh, that's engineered wood, unless you are a builder or someone else. Somebody coming into town is gonna look at it as just another wood facade.
And I can agree with that, but there's also specific ways in which that wood should be appropriately installed when it's installed. That wood can come apart at seams. It's supposed to be primed whenever it's put up,
It's
after
already
it's cut.
primed.
I mean on the edges, not on the front.
Yes, and it's all caulked and sealed, and it will be primed and painted.
And I'm aware of the priming on the outside. So it's,
I am worried that it's gonna get impossible for people to maintain their buildings, uneconomic.
I think that's a high standard, right? I mean, we have to
I
start
don't know,
boiling.
the building I'm in and the one next to it were both burnt out completely in the early 2000s and were both put back up into standard. Both of them.
Yeah, and I don't know how the insurance on that worked, but when you're just doing general maintenance, the insurance company's not available, involved, it's kind of different. Yeah, the people are already struggling to try to keep things running.
That just seems to me like there's bigger issues than this, right? I mean, this is somebody who's taking care of the building or trying to, and it's like, no one's gonna notice, right? And so like, it's preserving the building, and it may not be to an exact detail, but at least you have someone putting the money in and caring about it.
And I completely agree with that.
And you shouldn't be here talking about this, Maneka. It should not be an agenda item. You guys are, this is why you guys are called the Hysterical Society. This is absurd that you're discussing this.
No, it's
No,
not.
it is not.
Yes, it is.
It
is
You have
not.
much bigger issues to
It is
contend
not.
with than whether or not that surface has wood grain to it or not. They're actually trying to maintain that building. We've got building owners not maintaining it.
And we
That's who
didn't
you need to
say
be
that that
after.
wasn't an issue.
It is the issue.
It is not.
Yes, it is.
It's a change of material.
Then approve it and go on. This is absurd.
You have a right
I
to your
asked-
opinion, but we also have the right to ours.
Yes, you
Yes.
do. And I'm just telling you, from a member of the community, what you guys look like.
You're being very
Well,
aggressive
great.
right now.
Yes, I am.
That's
Because you are too.
fantastic. Well-
Because she shouldn't even be here.
Great, and
She
I'm glad
shouldn't
you
have to
think
be an
that.
agenda item.
I'm glad you think that. Because you were on this board for how many months and didn't show up once?
No, I was on that board when I showed up. When I actually had to sit in the councilman's position, no, I quit showing up. Because you guys are absurd. This board should be dismantled if you look at what you've done in the past.
You sat on it before me.
Yeah, I did, and you know what I thought then? It should be dismantled, because all of my peers that stood up there wanted to just nitpick paint colors and tell people what to do.
We're not even we didn't say anything
I
about
understand
paint
that,
colors.
but you said when I said on that.
Nothing about paint colors.
Well, they're the same damn
Okay,
colors.
so what's-
You can't say.
What's the board,
It
Okay,
doesn't
let's,
matter.
commission
let's
gonna
get
vote?
back to the, let's get
Yeah.
back to
What's the commission gonna vote?
question.
That's
What is
not
the
it.
question that is is being asked, is whether or not this material is,
Well, there's two things. If you
Approved.
approve it, you're essentially saying in these similar cases that all of these have to come back to you to approval before there's any movement. You essentially eliminate minimum maintenance and repair.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
No, it is not.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Okay, you're right.
If there was a change in texture, like it reads, change in texture, design, or material, or external appearance.
But I agree, texture is something completely different than just a wood grain. A wood grain to me is not a texture change. A texture change would be adding, you know, like you said, you're changing it to brick, or you're putting stucco over it, or you're doing something else to the surface that is totally inconsistent with what originally was done in Guthrie. Wood grain is all over the town. Just because it is a slightly different wood grain because we're trying to improve it and make it better, I don't see the point.
Well, you know, I trust our building department to interpret the code. You know, they're the ones that I call to get my work inspected. So, I mean, if they are already saying it's not a change of material, you know, I'm gonna defer to them.
But that's why this commission exists.
Yeah.
We are the experts. We're the one who gives, well, not the final say, but that's why we come here once a month and look at these things.
I'm definitely not an
Because
expert. I came here to learn
So
and be
is
a part
there,
of this.
is there a
device.
difference between engineered wood and wood
That's a,
siding?
people
No,
spend
no, for you.
lifetimes on studying things as simple as tires and cement.
And I understand that, but
And-
you just built your house. So is there a difference between engineered wood siding and wood siding?
What kind of corner are you trying to back me
No,
into?
I'm not. I'm just asking you. Is there a difference?
Well, at some
There
point.
is a difference between the two.
Okay.
They're two different materials, which is fine, and that's why we're here. They're two different materials. Yes, they both are derived from wood. One is wood, one's derived from wood, and it's pressed into wood. It's engineered.
Do you not think it looks good?
That's
Do you
not,
not think this looks good?
I think it looks good.
Well, then what's wrong with it?
It is
It's still
outside
wood.
of these rules.
So
That is
what
all.
are you gonna make her change it to?
Didn't say we were going to make her
You-
change it.
Okay, I'm not trying to argue, but you just said that this material was not appropriate, and that's why it can't be.
It is
It's on the
already there.
building. So what are you going to require her to remove all that and replace it with?
I'm not going to require her to move it. I'm going to request that it not be used in a maintenance in the future. Unless in the future it's an approved material under preservation.
Then I would ask that you not approve it, because then you're I don't.
Yeah, this is a
When-
sticky slope.
Yeah.
I would almost rather not move
Take
on
it,
this and
walk away.
apologize for making you come in. But that's my,
You have to leave some ambiguity in this stuff, right? I mean, you can't just like, you can't detail out everything, I don't think, right? I mean, because then you're going down the road of like, well, what are the new materials coming out? And you're gonna have some approval process on or any
I don't
material.
want to get too authoritarian on it.
And
Right,
frankly,
but-
it's not, I mean, it's not.
But we
this-
didn't write the Secretary's handbook on preservation. It's not even ours. So
Yeah.
whenever they rewrite it and make new woods and new materials,
Yeah, but I think you have to take a more general view of it, right? I mean, you can't, I don't know that you can take it to court on that kind of stuff and say, this is what we're gonna, we're gonna try to boil down and get our answers from this guide on absolutely everything, and it has to be specific, you
I'm
know?
gonna say that I'm not an attorney and I
Just as another example, the requirements you state have not been followed to the T for quite many years. We have many vinyl windows that exist in these that have been approved by this commission, and if you read those are not allowed, period. It's either wood or aluminum clad, that's it. And for many years, they allowed vinyl, which they look the same. I'm not arguing, I'm just saying that, you know, it's a change in how things have been going if we're going to start doing the black and white letter of the law.
Yeah, and that's, it's always open to interpretation too with these things.
And that's why there's more than one member on this commission.
Because
So
I even
that
had
can
the state come to
consider it.
you guys and have training, and it still hasn't been followed. Not necessarily your group, because some of you have changed, but.
I think we want to find a way to say yes on this stuff, right? And not have to make so many decisions on stuff like this when somebody's trying to care for something, right? I mean, that's my personal opinion. Like, let's figure out ways to say yes on this stuff and not have to be with a microscope on it. Because, I mean, you look at, it's not that this is the greatest city in the state, in my opinion, but it's not Georgetown, right? And we're not, you go through Texas, I go through Texas all the time, and there's all these small towns, and all these small towns, they're beautiful, and they're all redone, and the populations are much smaller, and it's like, it's very inviting, and it doesn't have the scrutiny, I think, that we're trying to apply on this, so.
What, are they also considered national landmarks where they have to uphold these?
Well, our national landmark is crumbling, you know, it's like, we have to do something. And if we can figure out how to say yes to people that actually are putting money into it, that's what we got to do. I mean, and not flippantly, and not just any, you know.
And to enable them to make good decisions and you know, empowered as much as possible. Yeah, I don't want to make a motion, or I don't want to do anything with this. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do nothing.
It's a vote for nothing.
Well, I mean,
Is there a motion?
well, I mean, if I can ask for a motion or not?
If you do a motion and you say no, then you're gonna have to tell her what she needs to replace it with. Because you've basically said what's there is not applicable.
So,
So a yes would be, everything's fine, she moves forward on whatever.
No,
painting.
because we've stated that the material is not appropriate. So if you move forward with a motion for yes, they can continue, you've essentially said you've approved the material you said wasn't compatible or wasn't to be used in the district. So then you would have to turn around and say what is, or make her change it. Because I don't know how you can sit there and say, no, this is not allowed, and then go ahead and approve it.
well, we did with your pop-up park,
That wasn't mine.
so those materials are not allowed and we allowed it to happen, so, and they're there.
Yeah, I'm confused why we're even here.
So I think we can still approve it and still give the opinion that per the rules that are set forward in the secretary's handbook, it's not an approved material. We can still approve it if it needs to be approved.
So then what would that mean? So in the future, if a similar project like this is happening,
If they would like to
Where they're
use a
doing-
similar engineered wood, they would need to bring it before the
I
commission.
think
is that
in
all
the
maintenance?
future, all we just have to
That's-
say, if there's a change of material, then it needs to come before the commission and not be considered routine maintenance.
So again, if you're replacing brick and you don't have the exact brick, it has to come back because it's a change of material.
Right, so that we can consider all the circumstances and make an informed decision.
Can you postpone the decision to 2050, 2060?
Sure, we could table it and never come back.
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, I'm at. It's a box of worms.
If there's not.
I mean, we do have a couple of absent members.
I don't think we need to revisit it. I think we can table it and just walk away from it.
Sit on it and think about it before we make a bad decision?
No, I wouldn't even sit on it and think about it. I'd just table it and walk away from it.
Yeah. That's, yeah, I'm the same. Can we do that?
Hmm?
Mhm.
Motion to table?
Oh, second.
Yeah.
Okay, who actually made the motion?
Nathan?
Oh, okay, sorry, Nathan.
I'm sorry, what was the motion again?
To table it.
Table it. And who was the second?
I was.
Oh, okay. Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
No.
Aaron Rooney,
Yes.
Mineka Gibbs.
Abstain.
That's a no, so it's 3-2. I have no comments.
Commissioner comments?
I have a comment, and I've said this before, and I'm going to take the opportunity to say it again, not talking about this particular issue today, but too often, I hear people talk about economic development and historic preservation as something completely different in Guthrie. And I am here to argue that Guthrie exists as it is today because of the historic preservation. We're the reason people, all these buildings downtown, all of these things, they're the reason people come here for these red brick nights. They're the reason that people make it a point to make a trip to Guthrie so they can go shopping or eat in the restaurants and things like that. And while it sounds like the little things don't matter all that much, they add up over time. And I am not a merchant, and I'm not speaking from a merchant viewpoint here. I'm a historian, and so I'm speaking from that viewpoint. But it does have to be said that this historic landmark district and this national landmark district, those can go away if we continue to chip away at the historic fabric of Guthrie. And when that happens, it's not just the businesses that disappear here. It is a good portion of the grants that the city has. It's the schools that begin to disappear then, and everything that makes living in Guthrie such a wonderful experience at this point. And I just feel it needs to be said, people ask the question and they deserve a real answer when they say, what is this little bitty thing going to matter? Well, the little bitty things add up over time, as we all know, and that's why it matters.
Can I speak? Is that okay?
No, because it's not an agenda item and we're in commissioner comments.
We're in commissioner.
Public comments was at the beginning.
It was at the beginning. So, with that being said, I know it's hard to be on this commission. I come from a place of rules and regulations in my background, not just as a merchant, but as a landman and working in oil and gas and having a degree in legal studies. So finding and seeing that this commission is regulated by CFR regulation is really hard to ignore. And getting to be here and having people come in and say, what was this building? Who built it? Who built the one on the corner? What did they do? Where did they live? What about the people across the street? What did they do? Where did they live? And they are standing still, and being able to tell them that is awesome. And
They're
it's
standing,
fantastic.
they're standing because of people like her, right? I mean,
No, they're standing because this
Bullshit.
preservation
No.
was put here. Did you see what it was looked like before they started historic preservation?
But did you hear the research that they did before they redid their first work on it? I mean, that's the, people that buy these buildings, like myself, have a heart for them, and they're doing everything they can, for the most part, to put money into it and do the right thing.
And they are, but have you seen pictures of what Guthrie looked like before they
This town is
started this
standing
project?
Because of Don Kaufman was at the state capitol, and he brought tons and tons of money back for historic preservation in the 80s. That's why it's still here, not because of this board, it's because of one man.
And
a
I
group of other
agree,
guys.
and there's
But you
a
won't have
whole
any of
code
these
to
buildings
keep
left
going.
If you act like this, where people can't maintain them,
James.
they'll let them rot.
Nobody-
Because Larry
James.
Ladd isn't doing
You can
shit.
go
James.
now.
I am
James.
gonna go, Mineka, because
Great.
this is hysterical, this is ridiculous.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Great.
And you know that it is.
Great, it's not. It's not. There is a great history. There's great that she did all of that research. There's great that everybody puts all the work into it. When you buy a building, you've got to put work into it. When you buy a home, you put work into it. And all of it feeds into what's great for Guthrie.
But Guthrie's not paying for the buildings or the upkeep, and neither is the government. People are paying for that, and people are doing the very best they can to make it like it was originally. They're not buying these to make them modern, you know, in most cases. Most of the time, when people are coming to Guthrie, overall, Guthrie is not considered, you know, highlight city. I mean, I know
So
it's
I'm
not
sorry,
that
public comments was at the beginning.
hard. Okay, I'm sorry, too.
If you can't talk, nobody else gets to talk either right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Aaron? I'm sorry, you look like you're trying to talk.
No, my concern comes from, you know, I've seen a lot of the buildings, and there's a lot of issues that I've had to turn down jobs because there's too many existing non-compliance issues. There's a lot of work to be done on these buildings. And I'm worried that if they aren't occupied, if there aren't people able to work on them, because that's what it takes. It takes actual people caring. Because there's lots of people that'll come around and just take the paycheck and run. But
You know, I think what we just did here by tabling this indefinitely is a disservice to you, and I apologize for that. We should have made a decision. That was a coward's way out. We decided to leave it alone
I
and not
absolutely
say.
disagree with you on that, Valerie. Don't call me a coward.
I'm not calling you a coward. I'm saying that the action that we took as a board was cowardly. We should have made a decision one way or the other.
we can't, because then we set precedents, and then nobody can do anything without coming to talk to us.
But that's the point of this commission. It's our job to set precedents. It's our job to make these tough decisions. That's what it means to volunteer to be on this commission.
Well, we've also
It's not
got-
always easy.
We have degreed professionals that have spent their entire lifetimes, you know, devoted to this stuff, and we have to give them.
But the city of Guthrie has decided not to leave it all with the professionals. That's why this commission was created in the first place.
And that's what we're doing. But the facade had already been changed. What do you want to do, go back in time?
No, I think that we should have decided, we should have either approved it or
We
not
can't do
approved
that,
it.
because then anytime anybody wants to do anything from Brick Tuck Point Brick, because it's different mortar.
I don't,
Are we gonna
I don't
start?
think that's exactly the case.
Well, yeah, 'cause I
But what
can't-
we've done is leave her in limbo, and that's not fair.
Well, no, she shouldn't have had, it's routine maintenance.
Well,
And if it's not, our building department will let us know. Our permit department. No, and if it becomes an issue in the future, we can always address it then. But I don't see it as an issue right now as much as the issue of allowing people to work on their buildings. I think that's the bigger issue is any building owner being able to work on their building.
Any other commissioner comments? Right, can I get a motion to, we can adjourn?